I almost made a mistake that could have completely ruined my $20,000 mountain lion photography trip in Patagonia. And this same mistake had actually held me back for 10 years, keeping my photos from standing out and leaving me feeling stuck. But once I figured out how to fix it, my photos were winning awards and being exhibited at the Smithsonian. And I have helped hundreds of my students winning awards and making print sales. In this video, I'm going to show you what this critical mistake is. The 3 visual traps I called BCS that could silently kill your shots without you even realizing it. And most importantly, how to apply this game-changing technique so you can avoid ruining your next trip like I almost did. I've created a free PDF checklist with more real-life examples that you can download below to help make sure that you never miss this again. So what's this mistake? Take a look at this photo I took 6 years ago. Can you spot what's off? Well, it works like this. After months of nothing, I finally got a match in a dating app and I'm meeting this girl for the first time. You know how 1,000 things went through your mind. What should I say to her first? How not to mess up? Is she gonna even show up? Then I see her showing up from a distance. Gosh, she's stunning, 10 times prettier than the profile photo. I can't believe my luck. She waved at me, sat down. Just when she started to speak, something went wrong. I saw a massive piece of broccoli lodged between her teeth. You know how you try to focus on the conversation, but your brain is fixated on that broccoli. You're nodding along, but you can't hear anything. Inside, you're thinking, do I say something? Focus on her eyes, darn it. I was helpless. I failed. It's like a mysterious force that pulled my eyes onto that broccoli. At the end, she walked away thinking I was weird. Now that I'm thinking about it, I get a little bit self-conscious. But what does that have to do with photography? Imagine spending thousands of dollars on a trip, capturing what you think is the perfect shot. But when there's a random distraction in your photo, like a stick near an animal's head or hind legs, or a patch of grass in front of the subject, your viewer's brain can't help but get pulled towards it. Indeed, the first person who discovered this phenomena is none other than Leonardo da Vinci. Actually wrote about this in his manuscript. He called it something like a peripheral pull. Our brains are wired since ancient time to constantly scan for danger via our peripheral vision, even if we are trying to focus on one thing. One time while in Tanzania, a lion was standing tall, majestically on a rock, straight out of Lion King. But a tiny patch of tall grass near her hind legs ruined the whole shot. I asked the driver to adjust slightly for a better angle. Another photographer snapped, "Come on, Tin Man, this is called nature." And she didn't allow the driver to move. Meanwhile, she kept clicking. That's hundreds of non-photos. My heart was bleeding because I know those photos would never work. Once I started avoiding the broccoli, my photos began winning awards, and my students too. But broccoli is just one of the 3 peripheral pulls, and the other 2 were even more deadly. So what's the second one? Take a look at this photo. See anything weird? The second mistake was not too obvious. I had no idea it even existed before. Even some seasoned professional didn't know it, except a few who taught me. Once I fixed this issue, my photos instantly looked more professional. So it works like this. My friend Joanne, a professional wedding photographer, was once shooting a bride in a hotel suite. She climbed onto the bed to get a creative angle. The shot wasn't good enough, so she stepped back to get a better angle. Then again, and bam! She felt a severe pain behind her head. Do you know what happened? So it turned out that she unknowingly kept stepping back, and then there is a ceiling fan right behind her head, and then it just hit her head. And she had no idea because she was so focused on her task. But what's that have to do with photography? Imagine waiting for hours for an epic shot, only to find out that there is a horizon line awkwardly slices through your subject like this ceiling fan. That's what I call the chop. When a line cuts through your subject's head or body, it distracts the viewers and ruins the shot. But why? Because when you are shooting in the field, your brain processes depth in 3-dimensional, like how Avatar was filmed with 2 cameras side by side. But a photo flattens all this depth into 2-dimensional, and when there is a harsh line behind the animal, it feels like a blade cutting into the subject. And the result, the pros, the editors, the judges all think amateur. Now you probably can never unsee the chop, right? But what about the third mistake? Take a look at this photo. Notice anything? So it works like this. Imagine you are driving home late at night. You may have just finished a company party, had a drink, you're exhausted, just want to go home and sleep until suddenly, blinding light, sirens wailing, your heart jumps, you are sweating, wondering, am I still below 0.02% alcohol? Am I going to jail? Was I speeding? Your whole life flashes in front of you. That's what I call the sirens. But what's that to do with photography? Sirens are the random bright and dark spot patterns, patches of warm and cold color that hijacks attention from your subject. When sirens invade your frame, guess what the judges, editors, buyers, viewers feel? Amateur. They overpower your subject, just like flashing lights ruin a peaceful drive. So how do you avoid these distractions in the field? It works like this. Remember the old arcade game 1943? You had to hit the target, but most importantly, while dodging incoming planes and fireballs, and those are exactly the broccoli, the chops, and the sirens. And that's also exactly what happened on my first mountain lion photography trip. I had my tripod locked down, thinking I was being professional, but when the mountain lion started walking closer, I couldn't adjust quickly enough, stuck with the same angle, unable to shift when distracting grass and horizon lines creep into the frame. Here's what I learned since. I've paid a lot of money to learn from the best photographers in the world, the top pros I admired, and you know what? The best of the best all in common? Insanely quick footwork. They move like ninjas, dropping to the ground, rising to a higher vantage point, constantly shifting positions even within the vehicle, adapting in real time to avoid distractions like this broccoli chop and sirens. Let me show you how I avoided them in my recent Patagonia trip. One early morning, we were blessed with a beautiful sunrise. My guy was able to locate a mother puma with her 2 cubs. Knowing that the horizon is getting into the way, the first thing I did was to test the camera by moving it up and down so that the horizon line wasn't cutting through the head of the mountain lion, while not too low that the tall grass in front of me was blocking the lens. And I got this photo. The chop is handled. But how about sirens? The habitat of Patagonia is full of sirens, tall grass, dome-shaped, huge vegetation, and rocks. To avoid the sirens is almost impossible, which completely destroyed my photos from the first trip there 5-6 years ago. But this time, during one late evening, the mountain lions got less skittish, and we found a vantage point where I was aiming the camera up at her instead of shooting down, and during the low light hours after sunset, the background is in the shadow, making it a lot darker with no sunlight shining on it, and I got this one. See the difference? So this is the Puma photo compared to the one 5 years ago. You see, this one got 4,000 likes. Sirens and broccoli sometimes come together. We were following this puma mom and cub, but lots of sirens and broccoli all over. But I saw an opening, a small opening, so I waited and waited as they were walking through it. I took a sequence of shots, and this is what I got. Later, one of my clients, Simon, got this shot in Kenya once he understood the importance of avoiding broccoli, sirens, and chop. And this is the moment when we first encountered the leopard mother and cub. By not immediately taking a documentary shot, he quickly moved into the right angle and perspective at a point where he was able to get this photo. It's his first ever encounter of a leopard, and this photo won the prestigious Greatest Masai Mara Top 5 Finalist recognition. But what if your photos already have broccoli, chop, and sirens? So you throw them away, burn your hard drive? Some distractions can actually be reduced a little bit in post-processing. But here's the catch. If you go too far, you risk disqualifications from contests, and nobody wants to be that person. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to remove these distractions strategically so that your photos stay contest-worthy. See you there.